Today I fucked up by taking Ambien on a plane and teleporting. This Today I fucked up is brought to you by an experience I had about 2 years ago that I still think about this day. Long story, bear with me. Picture this, you're me, a scrawny college kid with terrible sleeping habits and a divine hatred of flying. Naturally, you pick an East Coast college that's a 6-hour red-eye flight away from your home on the West Coast. Mom has a stash of Ambien she uses sparingly, just for particularly sleepless nights. Anticipating the shit show that is the red-eye, she lends me a few pills each time I head to school. The dose knocks you out for 6 hours at the least. Bingo. My perfect escape from the special hell that is air travel. So at this point, I had a routine: take a pill right after boarding, sleep through the flight, and wake up well rested just in time for landing. Grab an Uber to school, and lug the bags to the dorm. Easy. After several successes, I got an ego. I thought, hey, flying can't be that bad. Maybe I can sleep through this on my own. And if that fails, I've still got the pill as a backup. So I try falling asleep undrugged. I'm in and out of it, keep waking up at every beep and shuffle and overhead announcement. So I give up. It's still hardly been 10 minutes, so I take the full dose and prepare for bliss. Shortly after, I'm yanked out of my clinical slumber by an announcement that we've begun our descent. That can't be right. I only just fell asleep. Here's where I fucked up. It hadn't been 10 minutes into the flight when I took the pill. It had been 3 hours. The realization hits me along with a wave of intense nausea. If you've been on Ambien, you know that 1, that stuff is potent as hell, and 2, you're not supposed to wake up on it. I'm tripping, and hard. I vaguely call out for a bag, and one appears in my hands. I dry heave all the way to the ground, all the while cursing the robots that I could see growing out of the walls. Somehow my luggage gets pulled down from above and handed to me. I forgot the face of whoever was sitting next to me, but I'm pretty sure they took off running once I woke up and started prophesying the end of the world into my bath bag. As I'm swaying back and forth in the aisle, waiting to deplane, all I can think is, you just have to get to the dorm. Just get to the dorm. My phone goes off. I'm standing at the entrance to the terminal, bags in hand, staring at my own phone as a notification tells me my car has arrived. To this day, I have absolutely no memory of how I got there from the plane, nor how I called a car. I blinked and I was there. I get in the car, yak into the poor driver's old takeout bag, and pass out until we get to school. I lug my stuff up the stairs and promptly remember that I don't have my key. My girlfriend, who was looking after my room while I was gone, has it with her. Call public safety to let me in, and fall asleep collapsed outside my own door like a rejected booty call. The officer arrives, unlocks my door, and lingers in the doorway while I drag my stuff inside. "You gonna be okay?" he asks me, probably noticing that I look like a doped up sewer rat. I give him my friendliest smile and start to answer, but not before I gag and empty the last remains of my gut into my trash can. Perfect timing. He closes the door without another word. I took a shower, passed out, and woke up at 4 p.m. with the worst headache of my life. To this day, I've never delayed a dose on a red eye. TL, Doctor, I took an Ambien 3 hours into a 6-hour flight which had me hallucinate, teleport, and vomit all the way to school. Edit, clarified that I live on the West Coast and traveled east for school, fixed some misleading wording. Thanks for the karma, I think. I'd kinda lurk lol. And for the concerned folks trying to diagnose me LMAO. I'm getting a kick out of all of the stories with similar experiences. You should really just get your own prescription. Tell your doctor, sometimes I get nervous on airplanes. And make sure you don't check the box for frequent urination. My husband's uncle had a similar routine: sit down in his seat, take Ambien. Then on one flight, something was wrong with the plane that they discovered in the pre-flight checks, so everyone had to deplane and cross the airport to their new plane. Crossing an airport on Ambien was apparently one of his more challenging moments, so his new rule is no drugs before wheels up. I'm picturing the scene of Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street where he is using his foot to open the door. How close is this to accurate? Is foretelling the apocalypse an actual, listed side effect of Ambien? I always know when my grandma takes Ambien, cause she'll call me at 3 in the morning delirious and babbling about how we need to get to canning and stocking up for the end. It's a semi-regular occurrence. I also had a talk once with a friend about the coming nuclear war. He was also on Ambien. I was put on Ambien as a teenager. I took it for approximately 1 week. One morning I woke up and my keys were in a different spot than where I usually left them. Then my car was not in the spot where I had parked it. When I started the car it was missing a quarter tank of gas. I had had a vivid dream the night before that I was driving a race car up and down a nearby highway. Needless to say I never ever touched the stuff again. Everyone reacts differently to Ambien, but for some it can be completely wild. I had a co-worker give birth on Ambien and she doesn't remember it. I woke up on Ambien during a red-eye flight once. I found myself in Fraggle Rock. The talking pile of garbage was over in front of the emergency exit, and there were Fraggles bouncing to and fro everywhere. Most of the people were gone, but the stewardess thankfully wasn't, and that kind of brought me back to reality. This is fucked. Better go back to sleep, I thought to myself, and passed back out without incident. Decided Ambien isn't for me. Weird that the hallucinations are so potent, especially when compared to things like LSD, which, only from second-hand accounts, sound like they only manipulate what you're actually seeing. I guess their hallucinations on Ambien are like a waking dream, sort of crazy things you'd see asleep, but awake because your brain is wanting to sleep. Today I fucked up by almost cutting off my cat's penis. This requires some context. My cat has very long, fine hair that despite getting brushed every day, often clumps together, particularly under his arms and between his legs, because, you know, friction. When he gets little clumps in his fur, it's usually because he got litter stuck in it, so I usually just cut it out with scissors, so that they don't clump any further. So tonight after coming home from work, it was once again time for grooming, where I noticed he had several little knots that I couldn't brush out, so I took out the scissors. Since he hates being groomed, I usually let him lay down however he's comfortable, and just feel around for clumps and cut them by separating them from the skin as far as possible via the brush and then cutting them out. You probably know where this is going now. Anyway, so after cutting out several little clumps of fur, I feel another knot. So I take the brush, try to brush out the knot, but it's a stubborn one and doesn't move. At this point, the cat was getting noticeably uncomfortable. Try for a bit longer, but it's still too close to the skin to cut it. So I do the next logical thing, and grab the knot and pull it to get it out. Cat is trying to run away, but I hold him in place to get the job done, because I don't want him to walk around with matted fur all around his butt. At this point, I'm pretty certain that I could just quickly cut the knot in half and brush it down from there. So I take my scissor, flip him over, ready to commit a bloody atrocity, when I finally notice that that's not a knot. It's his peen. Cat is completely terrified because I just sexually assaulted him. I'm completely terrified because I touched my cat's peen. Even the damn birds on the windowsill are completely terrified because they had to bear witness to what I just done. In the end he forgave me, but I don't know if I can do the same. I already took this poor lad's balls, and now I almost claimed the last remains of his manhood too. Too long didn't read, mistook cat's peen for matted fur. Tried to cut it. We are both traumatized now. Edit, thanks to everyone who informed me using scissors is unsafe. I'm currently looking into other options. I appreciate the recommendations. But I also want to say, since some people seemed to skip that part, I do separate the fur from the skin with a comb before I cut it, above the comb. That's why I flipped him over before going any further. I might be a bit dense, but I'm not that negligent, lol. Edit 2, cat tax. Even the damn birds on the windowsill are completely terrified because they had to bear witness to what I just done. I guarantee they were laughing their asses off at their arch nemesis getting the old Sweeney Todd to the old pecker. When I was a kid I thought I found a tick on my dog. Thought I'd just cut it off with a razor. Just as I was about to, I noticed that there were 2 rows of 3, equidistant. Thank God you didn't snip and thought about it. This is one of the reasons that a person should never try and cut mats out of a pet's fur. Too frequently owners cut the skin instead of just the mat. Mats are often dangerously close to the skin. Take your dog or cat to a groomer or vet to have it carefully done. I read the title and the first line and I dropped my phone in surprise. Today I fucked up, almost cut my cat's penis. My cat has a very long. Today I fucked up when my mom opened a dildo I got from a sugar daddy. Haha, wow, I've never looked through this subreddit, but I have a story from 3 years ago and in hindsight it's kind of funny, but during it was absolutely the worst experience I had with my parents being upset towards me. A story usually kills, but I think it's also important to hear for anyone struggling with depression, gender dysphoria, and the like, so PLS don't remove mods. Embarrassed smiley face. This is kind of a long story but is a legit movie or something of being unlucky every step of the way, so I guarantee it's worth the read. So, context: had a house fire after graduating high school, lost everything including our 2 cats, finally rebuilt and moved back in after a few years of renting and still lived with parents. We ended up buying some more clothes when we moved back from Value Village. This whole time I've been dealing on and off with gender dysphoria, and at this point I really wanted some girl clothes again. So I snuck into my pile of clothes a flannel and some skinny jeans. Thankfully no one noticed. I was so happy, and of course wanted to try them on. Again, was even more happy with how I looked. So of course I took some selfies. Mainly just body pics, no face, just butts and hips, nothing NSFW. At this point I was aware of Reddit but never used it really, but was aware of r/traps and r/femboys and the like. So I decided to post my selfies, which I've never done anything like that before. So it was scary but nice to just be me, you know. So surprisingly I got a bunch of upvotes, and as someone that never uses Reddit I was completely shocked and super excited people liked me, as anyone would. Of course, I got a bunch of messages of guys being guys. I mean, it's exactly what you think they'd say. But people were asking a common question: do you have a wish list? At this point my outlook changed, because I also didn't have a job or a car at the time. I realized, oh, this could be a job. So I made a wish list with cosplays, some toys, and some wigs. And of course some guy was gracious enough to buy me like $100 worth of toys and 2 wigs. Now this is where the story takes a turn, haha. So to my parents I'm a shy 20-year-old boy that plays games in his room all day. So in my mind, I decided that I wouldn't tell them any package was coming because I wasn't confident in lying about why someone that has no job was getting something in the mail. Which I know for a fact if I just said I was getting something, I could have avoided all this. Well, one day I'm playing games on Discord with my friends, just chilling. Little did I know what was currently happening. A package comes from Amazon, my mom picks it up, thinking it's something she ordered for the new house, because again, I didn't tell her, so she had no reason to check the name. She cuts open the box, removes the wrap, a massive 12-inch squirting dildo is revealed, veins and all. She begins to scream my name over and over and my heart drops. It couldn't be the package, right? I come out and she's loosely holding the box at its pointed edges. Haha, that's crazy mom. It must be a prank, haha, that thing's so big. That was my story and she believed it. At this point my dad knows nothing and was outside. We decide to toss it in the trash and not involve him, a pretty homophobic father notorious for joking about gay couples, saying, do you want to be the husband or do you want to be the wife? So I begrudgingly tossed it. But of course I wasn't having it. Someone bought this for me, and I wanted it. So I snuck out and took it out of the box and brought it back to my room, super stressed out. At this point I guess my mom told my dad, so he came back to my room pissed, saying he didn't want any of that in his house, and so I played it off and he left my room not knowing not even a foot from him under my bed was this massive meat. After like 3 hours of me chilling in my room trying to act like nothing's going on in Discord, my mom comes in my room and closes the door. At this point, how the day has been going, she has to know I took it. That's just my luck, and it was the case. So I went out to check the box in the garbage, and it was gone. So I told her someone sent it and I just wanted to take pic to say I got it and put it back. She was confused but kind of accepted it and gave me a game strategy to get it back out to the trash without my dad seeing. Something I never brought up that makes this all even riskier. Since we had the fire, my parents got a bunch of cameras on the house because it was arson. So me taking said scepter out of the trash and having to put it back, knowing they could check the cameras at any point and probably see their son goblining around with this huge sausage outside, was probably the most anxiety-inducing task I had to achieve. Me still committing to my choice, I still wanted to give it a test run, you know? I mean, at this point I got this far with this massive problem, I might as well try it out, right? So it took it in the shower. Once I was done, I snuck out, placed it back in the trash and came back in. I made it. The task was done. Haha, the only problem, if you remember, it wasn't one toy, it was 3, including that one and 2 wigs. These have not showed up yet, so at this point I'm panicking. What do I do? More are coming and I can't hide the truth if they find the others. And I can't learn from my mistake and just tell them something's coming, because that'd probably be the dumbest thing to do. Days passed as I was on edge, waiting for a single package to come, just waiting to rush out and take it, hoping no one sees me. I waited, and waited, and waited. Then the day came. A bunch of boxes come in. As the FedEx driver is handing us packages and we're placing them on the porch, I notice one with my name on it. It's here. As we start bringing packages in, I decide to try and sneak it to my room. Of course my dad sees me bring this box to my room and I made some dumb excuse, and then came back to help bring in boxes. After my mom says, "Your dad said you brought a package to your room, let's open it." At this point I just can't believe my luck. I'm certain of what's in this box, but I'm wishing it's just the wigs or something, you know. I grab a knife, I walk to said package on my bed as my mom stands there. I slowly start opening the box. I peel the box open. It's another dildo and 2 wigs. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Cool. At this point I have the conversation, not about me having dysphoria but about posting to Reddit and getting stuff in the mail. He's upset and of course says, "It's because you're cooped up in your room every day. You need to get out and stop talking to these guys." Which of course this was something I was dealing with before, but she shifted the blame. The shitty part is I believed her. I thought I was still being rebellious and should trust my mom, an adult. So I deleted all my posts and prayed the gay away basically. If you're keeping track, there's still one unaccounted for though. Finally it came in a small box. My dad tossed it in my room and told me to throw it away. At this point he wasn't talking to me or looking at me. Of course as time went on things got better and normal again, but I still was faking myself getting more depressed as time went on. I have now since moved out and am on antidepressants, and I'm honestly happier than I thought I could have ever been, just being who I want to be. I recognize the circumstance was terrible and some might argue it wasn't completely my fault, but I know that my complacent attitude at the beginning lent to me causing an avoidable issue. Again, as something huge that actually happened in my life, I think it's important for people to hear. Not only from a certain angle can it be funny that my mom opened a huge dildo, but also is important to hear that you should be yourself and don't let anyone tell you who you are. I hate that I listened to her because I wasted so much of my life not being happy, and to someone that has gender dysphoria, the older you get, the worse it gets when untreated. Oh, please laugh at my story, but also please, 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 just be you. Too long didn't read. I posted to a trap subreddit pictures of me, got a huge dildo in the mail, and because we moved and I didn't tell her I was getting a package, my mom opened it on accident.